Yo, what's up? I'm Daisy, and I'm doing the usual today. We're gonna do some. Jeez, let me silence my phone really quick so it's not vibrating the whole time. Okay, so let me get into this. Here we go. The cure for pain is in the pain. Rumi. I wonder who that is. Is it that K-pop's Demon Hunter girl? Okay, so we had a bit of a screw up yesterday when I was building this number pattern generator. I finally figured it all out. But I had switched to my just a moment screen, and I never switched back, which I need to remember not to do that. So I decided, though, I would just fix it all again. Mainly just because, part of it is because these videos are videos that I want to come back and watch at some point. But also because, I figure if I can do it all again from memory, then I will have, fully solidified everything I learned. So I think, it's a win-win, So anyway, what did we do again? So we're making a function number pattern. It was a pretty good stream yesterday, though. I talked about stuff. I think in terms of talking, it was pretty good. But in terms of fixing anything, it did not work very well. Oh, I didn't. That's right. I need a parentheses. The n. Arguments in n. And then should use a for loop. Now I remember what I did at first when I was doing it. I tried making a string to add things to, like an empty string, and then I was appending things into the string using I was going like this. I was like, if and then one thing I had figured out, because I kept on saying if is int, because I was trying to make it return this argument must be an integer value. And then one thing that got me right at the end, the very last thing, after I had fixed everything, it still didn't work. It didn't do the tests, and that's because I was supposed to put a period here. So that was kind of silly. And then I did in elif, and if the integer is less than 1, return argument must be an integer greater than 0. Let's do that. Integer or greater than 0. And that needed a period too, which I had not done. And then from there I did a for loop. So I was like, for what is it, for number in n? Yeah, I think I said for number in range n, and then set for every single one. What did I do? What was it? I think it was. Oh yeah, I forgot. I just realized returning that is not what I did. I said, I basically put the string and I went like this. I said, in the end I said return string. So I first said string, and then I did a plus equals. Wow, I actually just figured it worked yesterday actually, except what I ended up doing was I did that, and that turned out to be wrong because later I fixed this. It turned out a string wasn't a good idea, and the only reason I thought to do that is because I went back through the other tutorials, and all of the recent tutorials, well, not all of them, but most of the recent tutorials were about lists. So I realized they probably wanted me to do a list instead. And I switch this. You can't use list, so I'll just say what did I do? I think I just did, last time I did capital LST. I don't think that's a super great, I don't think that's a very good variable name, but I don't really want to come up with another one right now. I did list. And then that came out weird though, because what did I do even? Oh yeah, I said LST plus equals, and then I said N. Oh, oops, I forgot to put an N here. If N is int. That actually was a screw up last time, but anyway. For N in range, for number in range N, number plus 1. And then we said return LST. And then at the end I said print, well, this was just to test it, number pattern. That's not supposed to, I need snake case, spaces don't work. Print number pattern. And then we said like 3. 8 and 11 mess it up. Int object is not iterable. I don't even know what that means. Well, in any case, basically, I actually totally don't remember what I even did last time. I was trying to imitate my mess ups. Oh, see, because I did this plus thingy, it basically, now it says argument, it placed every single letter. It made a list out of, it added every single piece of the string since it's iterable, and it put them all into the list. And so what I actually needed to do, what I ended up doing was dot append. I put it in there. And that made it into a list. And then I did LST dot join. Oh, no, wait, that wasn't it. It was a space. Space dot join LST. Yeah, so that made it into a regular string, and it separated things by spaces, because then when I actually do make it a thing for number in range N, now that's weird. So when I do make it a proper integer, it's not working. Oh yeah, and one other thing I messed up was this. It was supposed to be type. If N, or no, not N. If type N is int, then we append dot append here we go. Actually, I don't know what I'm doing now that's making this screw up. See, it messes up on line 11 because it tries to print it. Print number pattern N. So it takes an N, should use a for loop, it does. Return a string with all the integers starting from 1 to 4, with N, or 1 to N, including N, separated by space. So number pattern 4 should return 1, 2, 3, 4. I remember one big issue I had is that I finally got it to mostly work, but the 10, 11, 12 had spaces in between them because I had joined them as a space. And what ended up fixing that was, oh yeah, I remember. It's because of this, str. Okay, and that ended up making it so it says argument must be an integer value, even though, oh wait, it was supposed to be is not int. Yeah, so that fixed it. Actually, this fixed it in a completely different way. Wait, let's say 12. Oh, see, yeah, and that screwed it up. See, now it has spaces in between the 10 and 11 and 12. And that ended up screwing up everything. Oh, right, because I made the same mistake down here. So I am managing to remember all the mistakes I made, which is pretty good. And then remembering exactly how I fixed them. Just by going like this, making this into an append. There, now it should pass the tests. But, let's see, so let's check 0. And then if we make it a string, oh. So making it a string doesn't work. Now let's see, there were some other things that I did to fix it. I also used is instance, but I said not, if not is instance. I think it was int and then n, or in and then int. Let's try again. String. Oh, that's not a string. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think I ended up getting rid of this in the end. Now it's saying it can't be interpreted as an integer. Well, that's the point, though. If not is instance, and int. Maybe I'm supposed to do it the other way around. Int n. See, the whole point is that... Oh, right. I ended up needing to do an else statement. That was it. Or that's another thing that happened. Else. And indent this over, indent that over. Okay, I think it is n int. I ended up using is instance so that I could learn it. Okay, so now it says argument must be an integer value. What's funny is I maybe could have just had it. Okay, wait, so this works. So if I do it not an integer value, it works. If I do it as a 0, it does that. And if I do it as 4, uh-oh. Expected a stir instance. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is supposed to be a stir instance. So I was not supposed to remove that. That was part of my solution in the end. Okay, and then we fix that. And now if we do 12, yeah, there's no spaces in between. Okay, the whole thing is fixed. This is what I ended up having to do last time. And I'm now realizing that this whole appending these into the... I ended up appending them into the list so that it would then turn the list into a string down here and return a string, which fixes everything. But I think I could have just returned this. I could have just done return. Let me see. But I think it's because I was fixing the solution as I went along. Let's see if that works, just because. So we'll get rid of that, get rid of this. Because that means I'm learning something new. Which is great. Redoing this turned out to be very good. Okay, so a 0 returns that string. 12 returns the string. Okay, so this time I solved it a different way. Instead of appending these into the... appending them into this list, I just made it return the string itself. And I think I still don't understand exactly why this worked. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but like, yeah, the only way I can make it work is by first making whatever number gets put in, because this is an integer, but then in this case for number in range n, it appends the numbers in a list in that range, but for some reason they need to be turned into strings, and I don't know why. If I don't turn them into a string, it doesn't work, but it worked out because I was able to just turn the list of strings into a join into one string where they're joined by a space, which is perfect. Anyway, so that was an ordeal. Yeah, let's just make sure. Okay, once again, it all worked out. Okay, fantastic. So I feel I made up for yesterday when I messed that whole thing up, and I learned something new. Everything's going great. So now, oh boy, that means that we're not coming up to like a coding point for like a little while, because we got a review, then a quiz, then all this, and then oh, that's just one thing. Import a module. Okay, I'm gonna, oh boy. Okay, I'll try to get to the medical data thingy. I'll get as far as I can. And then after that, so it's just a workshop, and then there's no more labs. It's just this certification project. It's intimidating, but I think we got this. Let's see if this is long. It's long. And what I've learned in the past is that skipping ahead or skimming too much is not a great idea, because I'll actually forget or I learn new things when I review. It's weird to have a review like right before the quiz. You'd think it would be better to have like a review before doing a big project, so you can take that review stuff and build something hands-on, and then do a quiz to see if you retained anything from building something. That's what I do if I was doing this anyhow. Anyway, okay, yeah, so list tutorials. This is what gave me the hint that I needed to use a list on that project. I was trying to use a string before and add things to it. But just because the tutorials were lists, I realized they probably wanted me to use a list. Okay, so data list type is an ordered sequence of elements that can be composed of strings, numbers, and even other lists. They're mutable and zero-based index. Mutable means you can change them. Okay, accessing elements. So you can reference its index in the sequence by doing this. 0 would do Los Angeles. Accessing elements using negative indexing. Alright, -1 works. Negatives, Creating lists using the list constructor. They can create using list. You have to convert that into that. Okay, finding the length. List mutability. You know what? I will read this, but I totally want to do the quiz first, because I can just redo it if I mess up. I would prefer to like see if I've retained it and then do a review and redo it, because I can just do it in whatever order. Okay, what's the correct syntax for a list? Okay, not that. I was like, what's the difference? This one has the curly brackets. That one has normal brackets. Or curly braces. Okay. What's printed into the console? -1 would be Tokyo. What is an iterable? It's a special string that can hold a large amount of characters. It's a type of object that can be looped over. Type of object used to represent really large values. It's a special data type mainly used in classes and special functions. I mean, it can be looped over one at a time, but I don't think that's like what the point of lists are. But this isn't wrong. It is a special, isn't it an object? Special type of number. Yeah, I'm going to go with data type for classes and special functions. But that, I'm still a little iffy, because this one is true, but that's not like it's one purpose, whereas I'm not exactly sure what they mean by used in classes and special functions. Oh well, we'll figure that out later. So list developer, that'll split it up into these, but they will be in these brackets here. Get the number of elements on a list. I think len To get the number of elements? Yeah, len works for that. What happens if you try to pass an index, either positive or negative, that is out of bounds? Oh, crud. Well, it's not syntax error, I don't think. I'm guessing index error, because lists have an index, but it might be range error. But I'm going to guess index error. What will be printed to the console? If I fail this, I'm just going to go through the review. Even if I don't, or if I don't get it perfect, I'll go through the review and come back and try to get it perfect. What will be printed to the console? Dessert. So it's not cake, because that's 0. So it would be 1. And then it'd be 2 and 3. It's not including the second part of the slice, so it'd be cookies and ice cream. I think they use that as an example. Alright. Alright, what adds to the end? I think it's append. There's another one to put to the front. Or, yeah, there's one to put at the front, but I don't think it's append. I think append is on the end. Append the end. That's a good way to remember it, actually. Append is at the end. It's a mnemonic device. Alright, let's see. What will be printed? I gotta remember to keep checking my stream thing to make sure I didn't leave it on the just a moment screen again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in numbers 6, 8, 10. Extend. I think, extend, I think, puts it at the end also. Because one thing I learned is you can have a list in a list, but I might have guessed that if not for the fact that it's not in one of these 4 things. I'm pretty sure it puts it at the end. Which one is used to insert an element? Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Which one inserts an element? Push, I don't know what that is. Add, I don't recognize. I'm guessing it's insert. That seems correct. What will be printed? Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5. Remove 5. I think it just removes the first one that shows up. For some reason, I remember that. I think they might have given this specific example, so I think it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Okay, which one of the methods is used to empty a list? Oh, that's rough. I think it's clear. It could be empty. But clear, because I know there is a command called clear, so I'm guessing clear. A tuple, it's an immutable order of sequence, it's ordered sequence of values. Not that. Not mutable. It doesn't add elements. Okay. Which of the following is the correct way to unpack items from a tuple? That's definitely wrong. That's wrong. I think it's this because I don't see why it would be the 2 equals. Because I think it's the assignment operator. The 1 equals. Yeah. Yeah, that seems about right. What will be the result of the following code? Del developer 1. So that would delete 23. It will produce a type error. Oh, why would that produce a type error? A range error? It won't create an infinite loop, and I don't think nothing will happen. So it's got to be one of these. I don't know, because I don't know what a range error is. And I don't know exactly what del does. Well, it can't be range error, because it's like in the range. I'll do type error. I'm just going to guess. I'm glad it was multiple choice, because I wouldn't have been able to even guess. But I know it's only one of those 2. Oh. What will be the result for the following code? Index Python 3. Oh, I think index finds the first instance, but 3, that makes it start at 3. So since 0, 1, 2, the first Python is at 2, so it would start at 3 and go on. So it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll probably say 5, since Python's that one. Okay. Which of the following functions is used to create a new list of the sorted values? Is sorted. I think, because one of these sorts it. Sort and sorted, if I remember correctly, are both ones, but one of them you do like it's the dot, you put it after a period, which I think is like a method. But then I would call it a method, and this says functions, but I think methods are functions. They're just a different type of function. Well, okay, I'll do creates a new list. Dang, that's tough. Oh, it's a 50-50 shot. I can't remember if it's sort or sorted. Let's do, which function creates a new list? Because I think one of them, rather than creating a new list, like changes the other one. But I don't know if that makes sense. Because you would still have to like assign it to a new variable or have it return from a function or something. We'll do sorted. Because that just sounds right. Creates a new list and the new list is sorted. But then again, sort makes sense because it's like you sort the list and that makes the new list. We'll do sorted. I'm going with my gut. Okay, which is the correct way to use a for loop? For language in programming languages, print language. That looks right. So it says for language of programming language. That's wrong. For language in programming languages. That's wrong also, I think. It doesn't look like you should put it in brackets. This also looks wrong. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. It's this one at the top. For language in programming languages, print language. Yep. Which of the following functions is used to generate a sequence of integers? Range. No. Yeah, it's range. Which of the following functions is used to iterate over multiple iterables in parallel? I believe it's zip. Because there was enumerate and zip were kind of confusing, but I think zip I thought of like a literal zipper, how it pulls two sides together. It puts the teeth together. Okay, finish. Yes, I'm finished. What? 100%? For real? Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, holy crap, I got them all right. I missed just this one. It's a special type of Oh, so that was exactly what I was thinking. It does make something that can be looped over one at a time. Yeah, that is, I did mention that. I was like, this one is technically correct, but it doesn't. It only sounded wrong because it's only talking about one thing a list can do. But it can be looped over one at a time. And this one seemed right because it was, I just thought classes and special functions. That sounds smart. I was like, maybe that's what it is. Alright, let's say exit the quiz. Yes, I want to leave the quiz. Wait, why did it undid the quiz? But I got them all right. Or I've got 19 of them right. It said it would 18 of the 20 below. Whatever, I'll just do it again. It's because it said it wouldn't save my progress, even though whatever. Okay, let's look at this review. Now I know exactly what I can and cannot skim over. Okay, negative indexing, we figured that out, we know that. The len finds the length. Mutability, you can update any element as long as you pass in a valid index number. To update lists at a particular index, you can assign a new value, so 0 Python equals JavaScript, and it replaces the Python with JavaScript. So if you do it like that, like it's like assigning a variable, but in this case, instead of assigning a variable, you're just putting a string and assigning it into the index of a list. Okay, out of range error. If you pass an index, either positive or negative, that is out of bounds. Okay, so it was index error. I remember that question. I couldn't figure it out. Let's see. receive an index error. Yeah, okay. Sorry, my brain. Okay, remove elements using del. Wait, that's odd. In the quiz that I just took, it said, what will this do? And the only appropriate answers were it would do like a type error or it used this exact example, but it said one of the it was like either it'll do nothing, which wasn't true, and the other one said it will cause an infinite loop, which wasn't true. So I just randomly guessed between two error answers, and I ended up getting it right. But that's not true. What the heck? That was completely wrong. Okay. In uses it to check if the element's in a list. Nesting, take it inside nested list. You'll have to access it using index 2 since there's 0 index, so accesses it and then you do it again to index the list in the list. Unlocking value or unpacking values, yeah, we figured that out. If the number of variables on the left side of the assignment operator doesn't match the total number of items in the list, you'll receive a value error, so it has to be the exact same amount. Collecting remaining items. You can use the asterisk rest. Okay, that could be important later. So first name and then rest, and it does the same thing. And that basically makes it so, like say if I said print name in the case of this, it would print out Alice, or print age, it was print 34. It basically unpacked developer. I guess that's why it's called that. But then in this case, if I said print name, it would say Alice, but if I said print rest, it would show this list of 34 and Rust developer. It would just have another list. Slicing list, we figured that out. Stop intervals. Oh yeah, because they have 2 colons, so that works like that. Append, that ended up helping me a lot when I was making that thing. Add the item to the end of a list. It can be used to add one list at the end of another, and that nests the list also. Instead of extend is how you do it without nesting the list. Used to add multiple items to the end of a list. That example was also in the whatchamacallit. That was also in the quiz we just took. One second. Okay, let's see, appending, extending, inserting. At this you can insert at a specific index. So first you do the index you want to insert at, in this case 2, and it moves that one over, whatever is in that index. So in this case the 3 is in the 2, that moves to index 3. Remove. We'll remove the first occurrence. Yeah, so I guessed right. And the other used this exact example before. Let's see. Remove. Pop. Specific item. Pop 1. Return 2. So it removes a specific item and return it. So does that mean that after that the numbers list wouldn't have a 2 in it? And if you don't, it does the last element. Clear removes them all. Okay. See, they give the example right here, but this doesn't, it says that what's returned, but it doesn't give the example of like, here's what the list looks like now. I wish they would give an example, because I kinda need some examples. Let's see. Sort. sort method is used to sort the elements in place. Here's an example of sorting the numbers in place. So numbers.sort, and then that sorts it, then print numbers. So that just changes the list. Wait, so sort is meant to sort the element in place. A built-in function that returns a new sorted list instead of modifying the original list. Okay, so sorted makes a new one. Sort changes the original. So that's sorted makes a new one that is sorted. Sorted numbers equals sorted numbers. Okay, so that's what I thought. I went with my gut. And it worked out. Kind of. Basically. Let's see. Print sorted numbers. Print numbers. Reverse. Reverses it. Index. Used to find the first index where it can be found. Oh yeah. Yeah, so 1 is Java. If the element cannot be found using index, it will be a value error. That would confuse me because it's not an index error. But that's because you just put in the wrong value or something. Oh man, I'm yawning. That's crazy. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that. I'm currently, it's 8:40 p.m. I started doing this at like 8 o'clock. This is the first day that I've been doing this where it's not the middle of the night or like early in the morning. And I stopped. I'm trying to not do that in the middle of the night because I got too tired every time and couldn't like code. But now it's like a Pavlovian response. Like I'm feeling sleepy and yawning even when I'm getting all loopy headed, even though normally I'm not tired at this time. I'm very much like a stay up type of person. I'm not really like a night owl. I mean, I'm not one of those people who like always has to stay up. There are some times where I like get up early and then I fall asleep early and I get in the habit of being more like a morning lark. And other times in my life I'm like a night owl. So I can switch. As long as I get in the habit, I can switch. And that's how most people are. It's called being a hummingbird. I'm a hummingbird. But like the vast majority of people are hummingbirds. Only some people are like stuck in one sleep cycle no matter what. Where they just have a really hard time. If they try to force themselves out of it, then they'll just be tired. Anyway. Okay, tuples. They also didn't mention that this one, you can say which value to start at, which is one thing I figured out in the quiz, but they didn't mention it here, I guess. This creates an ordered sequence. They're immutable. Cannot change. If you try to update one of the items, you get a type error. Try to remember that. A type error because it's a tuple. A tuple's a different type of thing. Okay, access an element from a tuple, use bracket notation. Negative, and can we do that? If it exceeds it, it's an index error. With the tuple constructor, you can pass in iterables like strings, lists, and even other tuples. So you can still do that. Make Jessica into a big tuple, which is interesting because the string itself counts as a list normally. Which is weird because strings, well, they don't count as a list. They're iterable, so they're treated similarly to a list, but a string is also immutable. At least as far as I remember. You can use the in keyword to verify. You can unpack it also. Asterisk can do the rest. Slicing tuples works the same. Removing, you cannot. It becomes a type error. Okay. So type errors are like when you're trying to do it on the wrong type of thing. You're supposed to be doing it on a list. But if you do that, then that's that, I guess. Let's see. If you need a dynamic collection of elements where you can add, remove, and update elements, then you should use a list. If you know or you were working with a fixed and immutable collection of data, you should use a tuple. Yeah, tuples apparently are more efficient and they take up less data. And they're a bit safer if you need a list to stay the same, or if you need it to stay the tuple to stay the same, without accidentally messing with it. a list you could mess with without knowing what you're doing. Alright, so count to see how many times it shows up. If it's 0, then it's 0. Okay, no arguments, then Python returns a type error. Index tells you what the index for it is. It will return a value error. Okay, if it's not there. You can put a start. Oh, okay, they mentioned, no, okay, never mind. So yeah, Python 3, if you start at 3, which is C++ here, it'll start there and do Python, which is 5. You can also say where to stop searching. So 2 and 5, so it won't tell it. Yeah. Man, yeah, doing this is making me sleepy. I think I'll retrain my brain if I keep doing this in the evening, or maybe in the afternoon. Probably the evening. If I keep doing this, then I'll start not being tired. Let's see. Modifying string behavior. Reverse and key arguments. You can customize the sorting behavior for an iterable using the optional reverse and key arguments. Here's an example of key argument to sort items in a tuple by length. Oh, key equals len. Okay. And reverse equals true. Sorted programming languages, reverse equals true. Oh, but it makes a list. That's interesting. So it takes the tuple and returns a list from doing that. Alrighty. Loops in Python, for loops. It'll do it a number of times and execute a block of code for each item. Rust, Java, Python, C++. Oh yeah, print. Oh, it does them each on a new line. Well, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting it to do them all on a new line. Okay, using a for loop for the string code and print out each character. Oh, so the string code for car encode, print car. For loops can be nested. Oh my goodness. Oh, I am not even tired. I'm just really, this is a strong Pavlovian response. That's a bad sign that I've been like making myself so tired just by coding. Every time I start, I don't know if it's the coding or the talking into the microphone or just a little bit of both probably. Okay, nested for loop. For category in categories, for food in foods. Interesting. Print category food. Okay, I think I see how this works. The while loop till the condition is false. Oh, yeah. Okay. Print, you got it. Okay, I don't fully understand that, but whatever. I know how a while loop works though. Use loops to modify the execution of a loop. The break statement is used to exit the loop immediately when a certain condition is met. Developer names Jess, Naomi, Tom. If developer equals Naomi, break. Oh yeah, for the continue statement is to skip that current. Okay. It doesn't really give an example of what happens with these for loop, with these break and continue. They combined with else clause. For word in words, for letter in word. If letter dot lower in I John Madden. F word contains a value letter. The vowel letter break else. has no vowels. So break would just take it down to the else. Ranges and their loops, used to generate a sequence of integers. The required stop argument is an integer non-exclusive that represents the endpoint for the sequence of numbers being generated. Here's an example of using the range function. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, my brain, I'm like getting like tired, like even in my mind, like I can't think straight. It's gonna take a minute, but yeah, I'm gonna have to keep coding. I'm gonna have to keep doing this in the daytime until I stop being tired. Cause I got like the lights on and everything. I like never sleep at this hour. Okay. Use an example of the range function. Start, stop, step. Oh yeah. Okay. For num in range 3, print num. If a start argument is not specified, then the default will be 0. By default, the sequence of integers will increment by 1. You can use the optional step argument to change the default incrementing value. Here is an example of generating sequence of integers from 2 but up to but not including 10. But also, if the start is not specified, the default will be 0. By default, it increments by 1. So this one increments by 2. If you provide none, you get a type error. It's hard to remember all these errors. Those are things we don't really need to remember though, because I don't think it helps me to know what type of error I'm getting back, unless like, well, I guess if I know what all the different errors mean, then when I get an error, I'll be able to like do something with that. I'll know how to fix it or something. At least I think so. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. When you get a type error, range function only accepts integers for arguments and not floats. Using floats will also result in a type error. Oh boy. Okay, range function only accepts integers and arguments and not floats. Using floats results in a type error. Oh gosh. This is the wildest thing. Maybe I should have like a cup of tea or some coffee before I do this next time. But this is like wild. I have to retrain my brain to stop being sleepy because I'm like so tired. I think I'm gonna do this and then do that quiz. And then I'm just I'll pick up later. Because the next I just have to read a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I'll be able to read a bunch of stuff. And figure the rest out later. Anyway, trace back. You can use a negative integer for a step argument. Step argument, okay. To make it go backwards. Decrementing order. Decrementing is such a strange word because I know exactly what it means, but it's one I feel like I never see the word decrementing. Alright, so range function only accepts integers for arguments and not floats. Oh boy. Why is my brain not braining? Alright, I'm almost near the end of this. I can finish this up really quick. Okay. You can use negative integer for the step argument to generate a sequence of integers in decrementing order. not floats. The range function can be used to create a list of integers by using it with the list constructor. The list constructor is used, so number is equals list range 211 2. Oh, so you can just stick it into this list function thing, or constructor is what it's called. I wonder if the list constructor is a function. Like, is a constructor a function, or are they two completely separate things? Are all constructors functions, but not all functions constructors? I feel like that's how it is with methods. Like, all methods are a type of function, but not all functions are methods. It's used to convert an iterable into a list. Here is the example of generating a list between 2 and 10 inclusive. Okay. Enumerate and zip. Okay. Enumerate is the end of it, I think. It iterates over a sequence and keeps track of the index for each item in that sequence. The enumerate function takes an iterable as an argument and returns the enumerate object that consists of the index and value of each item in the iterable. Sorry, I'm trying to get in the habit of talking a bit louder. I kind of want to. I had to turn my gain up because I'm quiet. But I don't. I would prefer to be able to keep my gain at like 0, so I can only turn it up when I need it. Because I feel like it also affects the sound quality. Like, it's best at 0, where it's like it has the most fidelity. It's the most faithful to the actual real life sound. So for index language and enumerate, you know what I should do also is turn my gain to 0 and then try to change the volume of my microphone so that when I or change the volume of my own voice in my headphones so I can hear myself speaking at my own. Anyway, I'll do that later. Enumerate takes an iterable as a function, returns an enumerate object that consists of index and value of each item in the iterable. Goodness gracious. Takes an iterable as an argument, returns an enumerate object that consists of the index and value of each item in the iterable. So for index language and enumerate, index comma language. So you put in index, so it'll say index 0 and stuff, but I think you can use anything you want for this variable. But yeah, in this case, they used index and language in enumerate languages. The for language in is similar to most for loops, but this, in the case of enumerate, you got to put 2 things. And then print in f string index and language. Okay, that makes sense. The enumerate function can be used outside of a for loop. Okay, print list enumerate languages. Oh, and since it put them in pair values, it made them tuples that are now in the list. Whereas in this case, they weren't made exactly into a tuple. They were used as values in the f string. Okay, well, that's interesting. I'll try to keep that in mind. The enumerate function also accepts an optional start argument that specifies the starting value for the count. If this argument is omitted, then the count will begin at 0. Whoops. My sister and niece were watching a magical girl anime called Princess Tutu, where she was like doing ballet and stuff. So now I've got some ballet songs kind of playing in my head. It looked like a good show. Magical girls are fun. I'm like distracting my brain. Okay, enumerate function can be used for an outside loop. Or wait, no, outside of a for loop. I already figured that out. The enumerate function also accepts an optional start argument that specifies the starting point. If it's omitted, it will begin at 0. I feel like everything does that. It's to the point where, yeah, they're not even giving an example this time. They're just like, you've heard it 1,000 times, you know. Okay, zip iterates over multiple iterables in parallel. Here's an example using zip to iterate over developers and IDs. So zip needs to be to printf name, printf ID. For name ID in zip developers ids. why is this one blue? Is it supposed to be like that? It didn't, like, neither of these turned blue for the enumerate. Whereas ID turned blue for this. Part of me feels like, and it's blue right here. I wonder if they were supposed to use ID, because if it turns blue in most text editors, that means it's like a keyword or something. It might have been a preserved word they weren't supposed to use. Because there are a few slight imperfections in this tutorial. Nothing serious, but you know, that might be, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a slight mistake there. I don't think I would remember the syntax for this though. For name and in zip developer is IDs. And it just treats them like they're one list and iterates through them. So it iterates over multiple iterables in parallel. Okay. I guess that makes sense. List comprehensions. Oh my god, how much longer? Okay, we're good grief. I was like, oh my lord. Okay. List comprehension allows you to create a new list in a single line by combining the loop and the condition directly within square brackets. This makes the code shorter and often easier to read. So num for num in range 21 if num. So it creates a new list in a single line by combining the loop and condition directly within the square brackets. Why don't they show the example? It says print even numbers and then shows nothing. Like, that's got to be a screw up. There's no way someone thought that this would be a fine, because you may as well just not put that there if you're not going to show what it printed out. You could have just shown the thing. Oh boy. For num for num in range 21 if num modulo 2 equals 0. That checks for even numbers. Oh, that's why it's called even numbers. Okay. Alright then. Filter. Used to filter elements from an iterable based on a condition. Returns an iterator that contains only the elements that satisfy the condition. Here is an example of creating a new list of words longer than 4 characters. Okay, so def is long word, return lang word greater than 4. Oh yeah, and you put in you have to put in a filter as the argument for the filter, or you have to put in a function as the argument for the filter. So first you have to define this function is long word, word, and then when you're defining this function, the parameter you put is this list. First you make the list, create a function, the parameter is the list you made, and then say return the length of word. Oh wait, no, that's not the list. The list is called words. This is called word. So yeah, you just create the parameter word and then return length of the word, and then say filter oh okay, yeah, so you put the function here is long word and then do words, which is the list. So the filter needs your first thing to be a function. I remember thinking that was weird because I haven't really seen that. Oh, and this is a method. Iterable methods. I just realized. Okay. Map used to apply a function of each item to each item in an iterable and return a new iterable with the results. Here's an example of the map function to convert a list of Celsius temperatures to Fahrenheit. So there's the Celsius. Def function to Fahrenheit with the parameter temp. Return the argument times 9/5 plus 32. So you do the same thing as with filter. You put in a function, in this case 2 Fahrenheit, and then Celsius, put the list, and it maps, apply a function to each item in an iterable, and return a new iterable with the results. So you just use the function on everything in this list, and it makes a new list from your function being applied to everything in the list. Oh wait, no, this makes it into a list. It just returns an iterable. But then if you make it a list, then it returns this right here. Okay, cool. Sum, used to get the sum from an iterable, like a list or a tuple. Here's an example of using the sum. Sum, well, I mean, that's pretty simple. Okay. You can also pass in an optional start argument, which sets the initial value for summation, but basically adds that to everything else, so makes it 60. Yeah, it's the same as in this one. This result is 50, but then when you do the start at 10, makes it 60. It can be a keyword like this instead. Start equals 10. In this case, it's 10. And that does the same thing. This is a positional argument, but this is a keyword argument. I have no idea what the difference is. Lambda functions. It's you create a function, but it doesn't have a name because it's an anonymous function. So if you're just using it one time, and they specifically said you can technically store the anonymous function in a variable, but that would defeat the purpose completely because you may as well just make the function in that case. Best practices for using lambda functions include not assigning them to a variable, keeping them simple and readable, and using them for short one-off functions. They're often used as an argument to another function. So in the case of filter or map, where they need a function as the first part here, as the first of their arguments, you would just do a lambda instead. So I'll try to remember that if I use filter or map, I'll have to use lambda. Okay, submit. Okay, next challenge, the quiz. Alright, correct syntax is this. Let's just rush this through this since we already did it. This will be Tokyo. This is an iterable is they can be leaped over one at a time. Type of string. Yeah, no, it can be looped over one at a time. This is Jessica here. Get the number, it's len. Pass in an index that is out of bounds. Try to pass in an index, positive or negative. Yeah, that's index error. And then what will be printed to the console? Cookies and cream. Cookies and ice cream, I mean. I think they did that on purpose. No, wait, no. If it was cream, they would have cookies and cream. Cookies and ice cream. Which one is add, is append? What will be printed is it extends. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, that looks... Oh, wait. No, wait, yeah, this one. Okay. Which of the following methods is used to insert an element at a specific index? Insert. What will be printed? Remove 5. Print numbers, so it's the same thing, but minus one of the 5s. Which one is used to empty? Is clear. What is a tuple? An immutable order of ordered sequence of values. Which of the following is the correct way to unpack items? It is probably this with the assignment operator and no weird greater than, less than thingies. Which was the result? Yeah, so this one was wrong. It literally, the result would have been that this would have just been, oh, I just realized. Holy crap, it wasn't wrong. So they used this example to show us a list where it removed it from a list, but this is not a list, it's a tuple. So it will produce a type error, because if you try to mess with tuples, it makes type errors. And it makes range errors. Actually, I don't remember what makes range errors, but whatever. Okay, this one starts here, so it would be 5, so that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Which one is create a new list of sorted values is sorted, because sort sorts the list but doesn't create a new one. It changes your list that you sorted, whereas sorted makes a new list and leaves the other one as it is. Which of the following is the correct way to use a for loop? For language and programming languages. That's wrong. This one, these ones both have weird syntax with the curly braces and brackets. Yeah, okay. Which of the following ones produces a sequence of integers is range? And which of them is used to iterate over multiple iterables in parallel? Zip. That is the quiz. Yes, I am finished. Let's make sure we got them all correct. And that looks like a daisy sweep. It's a perfect score. Alright. So, yes, let's go to the next challenge. Okay. Oh, yep. Don't forget to support Free Code Camp and support education and make everything good and have a good time. Yeah, and then get these certifications. Print them out, put them on your wall. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I might, but probably not. Well, maybe. I mean, not print them on my wall, but maybe I'll get them and get a job with them. Probably not. Okay, yeah. I think I would, that took more out of me than I thought. I think I already did this lab. I redid the lab and that was fun. So I think tomorrow this will be good to all do in one day. That way I can not only read all this, but then actually do this workshop here afterwards. And then maybe I could do this review and this quiz. Is this review long? Not super long. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because then this certification project, who knows how long this will take? Could take years. No, it won't take years, but you know, who knows? Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna hop off. And I will come back here tomorrow in the evening or afternoon or whenever. I still don't do like a set schedule thing, but I'll try to make it evening time. So it's like late, but not so late that I'm falling asleep. Anyway, and then, hold on, let me switch it to this. So we're getting off, and I think I keep on doing this thing where like I'll be talking like right at the end and then I'll like stop my stream, but then Twitch does this weird thing where I have an option on where if I happen to disconnect, it'll keep the stream going to give me like a minute or two to reconnect, which I think is useful. It's like in case I like lose internet connection or something, but it keeps activating it like when I end the stream on purpose, which is not good. And I heard it might be doing that because it thinks I'm still trying to continue the stream. Like when I end the stream, it suddenly like cancels, and it's because I think part of it might be because I end the stream like while talking. Like I'll be saying stuff and then I'll be like bye and then like end the stream right away. And I noticed a lot of other streamers don't really do that. They like say goodbye and then they go to like some other screen, or they'll raid people. But when they don't raid people, they tend to go to another screen first. And then like they'll stop like making noise for a second and then they'll hop off. So I think what I'm gonna do is just mute my mic after I say bye. I mean, I'm not gonna click the button to mute it because that's like weirdly loud, but I'll like mute it in OBS and then I'll stop streaming in a moment, and we'll see if that fixes it. I'll give it like 10 seconds or so, or like 20. I'll give it like 20 seconds for good measure this first time. We'll experiment. We'll start out playing by ear, and we'll experiment a bit and see where it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll be here again. See you later. Bye bye.